Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final round of Season 14 here in the Midwest Esports League. Tonight we are at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil, for what should be a very memorable final race. This one, of course, all of our drivers and I don't want to say drivers and constructor standings are all complete here. The Saubers look as if they're going to walk away with the Constructors' Championship over the Ferraris. Race day has already locked up the driver's title as well, so that one has pretty much been figured out as well. We're just going to have one more fun little race here in Brazil. It's been a hell of a ride, and we're going to give this one final good send-off here, qualifying included for what can be described only as correctly fitting, perhaps a bit of a sabbatical for me after this race here from commentating here in Midwest F1. This is going to be fun, potentially emotional. We'll definitely figure it out, but as they say, all good things must come to an end, although I don't like to believe this is going to be necessarily an end. I think it's just going to be hopefully a goodbye for a little while, and then potentially we'll see each other again someday soon. That is definitely the hope that I have, at least regarding this one. But enough of that. Let's get ourselves over to qualifying. Looks quite a sunny day here in Brazil. It doesn't appear that it's going to be... Although it doesn't initially appear that it's going to be raining here. Although you never know. This track does spit out rain whenever it does feel like it. So we'll have to wait and see how this one turns out. I think a lot of these guys... Well, for what's interesting is the fact that we're considering how long these guys are actually taking in the pit boxes now, as we're only just getting our first car out on track. That is going to be the Williams of, I believe, it's not Gottney Weave, it's going to be Fire Flow. Fire Flow is going to be the first one out of the pit lane here. They took a whole minute and a half to actually get these cars on track. Are they putting up, normally you'll have setups already saved somewhere in your game, so I don't know, maybe are there tweaks being made, maybe is there rain in the race session. That's why we've seen them take a little bit longer, but we'll have to wait and see. Fire Flow making their way up the hill. It's been a while since I've done a qualifying session here. We're just going to go along with Fire Up Flow for this one. Hopefully he'll have himself a little bit of a good go of it here. We'll have to wait and see. We'll keep the telemetry closed. We don't need that. It does quite clog up the screen anyway. So Fire Flow making his way through the back end of Sector 3 here in this Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, named after the Brazilian racing driver. Down the pit straight. It's a very short run from the grid boxes here into the Senna S. First couple of corners here. It's a difficult one to get right as well on a hot lap, that's for sure. Down the hill, got to be careful at turn 2 there. Curva del Sol. Turn 3, you can ride that inside as much as you like. Too much, you exceed track limits, and too little, you don't get the correct line through. Heading now in towards Do Lago. These two corners here at the back end of Sector 1. Of course, obviously having been purple for Fire Flow for the time being. Through, and I know I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, Ferradura. Up through turn 4 in towards, sorry, that's turn 6, in towards turn 7. Pinarino turn 8. Into the Duck's Peak, Pico de Pato. Of turn 10 right here. It's a very tight right-handed corner. We do typically see some guys have some difficulty on the exit. Mergulo, turn 11 in towards the left-hander at turn 12, Jun Shao, which I've also pronounced incorrectly. I can absolutely be telling you that one. Back on the throttle, background making their way to the start-finish line now. Let's see what kind of time Fire Flow's put together here. It's 108.295. That looks a good lap and has to be said. I didn't really notice any wrongdoings on that lap either. What I will say is this King Pro player has immediately blown that one out of the water by half a second there. 107.718. I don't know what Fire Flow did wrong or differently from King Pro player, but King Pro's got it absolutely pinged for the time being. I'll have to wait and see if that holds true for the other drivers on the grid. We do have an Aston coming around the line now. That is going to be the lone Aston of Nicky 64th to the line for him. He'll go P3. The McLaren of Gunner has started a lap in behind as well. Travis Scott appears to be starting at another time one for now. His first of the day, Element, appears to be on a hot lap as well. Element had a pretty halfway decent showing at Spa last time out initially. Got the better of the rain that had transpired in the offing of the qualifying session. Was able to get himself a spot relatively high up the grid. Unfortunately, it didn't quite pan out for him in the race that he would have hoped for and that I hoped for as well, because it was a halfway decent attempt there for sure. Unfortunately, that day did not end well for him, but maybe can he perhaps have some luck here going into the final round of this season. That is hopefully the opportunity there. We've got Shariah making his way around the line. Oh, so close to taking the win last time out at Spa as well. Did get bested by Race Day 2016, but goodness me, that was so close to being one of the best races in Midwest history. Having him win, that would have absolutely have been something to see there. But unfortunately, it didn't quite pan out that way. We've got a Mercedes off going there at Pinarino, and it looks like Race Day has gotten out of the way for another car. He's about 4.5 tenths of a second off at the moment, which is, by the way, quite a lot for him for what it's worth. That is not necessarily a position he's quite used to being in, but again, he's in a spot now where potentially getting a reconnaissance run in, potentially. He's already put together a good time. He doesn't have to panic. He's got a time right now that will easily hold up to the rest of the top five. And we'll have to wait and see. The Ferrari of Suisse coming around that final corner. He's gone 108.292. Only gets fire up flow by 3/1000ths there, by the way. So very close there for Sweet. 12 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. We do have now coming around the final corner the Sauber of Shariah. Across the line for him, he'll go 9th, currently second slowest of the 10 cars that have made their timed attempts. As Gunner's making his way through Sector 2 into Sector 3 now. This does not look to be an improvement from him. King Pro player into the pit lane now. We've got 11 minutes 30 remaining in this session. Callie Robb appears to have crossed the line, has gone P6. It's either not been a good lap from him or he is not on a flyer here. Doesn't appear that this is going to be a flying lap either from the Ferrari. Coming around the line now, we have the Red Bull of Reimer, who making his way in through Sector 3 and across the line for him. This is going to be a halfway decent time. He has gone second, 107.984, behind King Pro player by only 2.5 tenths of a second. Not a bad time whatsoever from the Red Bull driver. Is now Race Day, who we thought had just kind of gone for a reconnaissance lap there and has now put together a good one, 107.590. Gets provisional pole now by about 1.5 tenths over King Pro player. Coming around the line now, we have the McLaren of, I believe it's Scornsey, and he'll actually go 3rd. Great lap from him, only about 0.3 of a second off the pace of Race Day for the time being. We've got 10 minutes 30 remaining in this qualifying session. Is coming around the line now, I believe, is the Ferrari of Callie Robb to potentially start a flying lap now. Let's see what he's got. DRS having been activated, exiting turn 14 there in towards the first corner of the Senna S's. Let's see how he holds it. Bit of a lock up there on the left front, down the hill through 2. And then through Curva del Sol, turn 3. Absolutely pinged there on the inside. He's actually going to not run wide out of the corner. Usually we'll see guys take more of a wider line on the exit. Well, at least for one more time, Valentine. One more time. Through Dolago up the hill, heading in towards Sector 2. Now, this is where it gets very difficult here for Callie Robb in particular. If he's gone purple, I think that potentially this car could be set up more for the straight line speed. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe a little tentative there, getting on the throttle, exiting turn 9 through Bigudapato turn 10. He's looked pretty confident there. Through the downhill left-hander of 11, that one's looked comfortable. Has bested Sector 2 by about 0.3 of a second there. It's looking a good time here for Callie Robb. Let's see if potentially he can round out this lap here on a good note as he makes his way down the pit straight now. Takes as much of the inside as he possibly can, and across the line for Callie Robb. Only P6, has only improved there by 0.4 of a second. I thought that was going to be a much quicker time. And as it turns out, finds himself an even 0.6 of a second off the pace, only 9 thou behind that of Gottany Weeb. So he's right close enough there to be able to make something happen. I think I would definitely look out for Cali Rob here. He's right on the doorstep of being able to put together something good here. Mind you, we do have 3 1,000th between Swee and Fire Up Flow. Appreciate that, Valentine. Appreciate it a lot. Good to know that I've left a good impression here. Hopefully one day we'll be able to continually do so. Looks like Race Chase is invalidated somewhere along the line. Doesn't appear that this is going to be a worthy timer from him. We've got 8 minutes 15 remaining in the session now, as I think we're going to start to see, not necessarily panic, this is going to be kind of round number 2 of the qualifying attempts out on track here, and Race Day appears to have that as well. Lancey appears to be suffering from connectivity issues. Well, last for now. Last for now. Bit of a sabbatical, anyway. King Pro Player has actually gotten that time to within 1/10 of a second there of Race Day, and what I'm assuming now is what's going to happen. Race Day is going to have himself a good one here. He's got some clear track ahead of him. Well, I was going to say that. He's had a bit of a misstep there. Coming out of 11, I think maybe is he just kind of setting this up as much as he can. That appears to be the case. We're going to be looking now at, kind of round 2 or 3 of the timed attempts here. We'll have one more probably after this, another fresh set of tires if they have them available. Any final wing adjustments here into the Senna S's for Race Day. Oh, back end got a bit away from him there. Getting on the throttle, exiting turn 1 through Curva del Sol. And exiting the corner. Yeah, I'm not sure this is going to be a good lap here from Race Day, considering how he started it. He is slower. 5/100ths of a second, so will he be able to make that up? Or, when he gets to the back end of Sector 2, does he decide, probably just best to sit this one out and try again at the end of the session? I think that's what he's got to start considering here. As we make our way, well, he's still using the hot lap here. You can see he's absolutely trying to chuck it around now. He knows he's made that mistake, and I believe he knows he's made another one there, and he has backed off. So this will not be an additional attempt here from Race Day. Scornsey currently out on track as well. He's about to begin one as he makes his way around the final couple of corners now and down the pit straight. Let's see what Scornsey's able to do. Energy being used, DRS activated across the line. He goes with 6 minutes 5 remaining in the session in towards turn 1 of the Senna S's. He's not exactly hit the apex there, but he's trying to set himself up a good run down through it, and I think he has just missed turn 2 there. Not necessarily off track, but he's not taken that line as cleanly as I would have expected. It did look slightly awkward even from my position, and it appears, yes, he has backed off this lap. So a couple of guys now having a little bit of difficulty through those first couple of corners. Race Day didn't hit it that well. Scornsey didn't either. Reimer appears to have just finished a recent time lap. He finds himself third, at least for the time being. 5.5 minutes remaining now. I'm just wondering, will he potentially... Is this going to be going down as another timed lap here from Reimer? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it will be. Yeah, no, definitely not. So with 5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session, Race Day currently sits on pole with a 107.590. King Pro Player will be second, behind by only 6/100th of a second. Reimer will be third at 2/10 of a second down. Scornsey will be fourth, only about 8/100th behind Reimer. And then what is that? 4/1000th behind Scornsey is his brother Swee. 3/10 behind him will be Gottany Weeb in sixth. Only 9/1000th behind him will be Cali Rob in seventh. 2/100ths behind him will be Fire Up Flow eighth. 7/100ths behind him will be Nikki 64 in ninth, and then Race Chase rounding out the top 10. 7.5 of a second behind. As we come to the conclusion of this round of qualifying attempts, I think we're going to see a couple guys make a go of it here quite soon. Is this going to be a proper hot lap now from Scornsey? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see what it says at the Sector 2 timing line, if it is. And if he is quicker, then that'll pretty much tell us that he's going to be going for it here. 4 minutes remain. Across the line, he is quicker by about a tenth and a half. Okay, so maybe is this going to be a genuine one here for Scornsy? Trying to get back on the throttle as much as he can, use as much of that energy store as possible. He will be seeing this lap out to its conclusion, and across the line for the McLaren, goes up to third, improves by a tenth of a second, leapfrogs Reimer by 2/100ths, gets his way up to third. With a 1:07.771. Charlie Golf, you should absolutely join Midwest. This is a fantastic league to be in here. I think it's definitely got a lot of talent. I tell you what as well, we talk about the total. It's sometimes, I will say, it's slightly difficult here, I would assume, as a driver, when you've got, 4 or 5 incredible drivers just clearly at in the race of their own, really. Race day, Scornsy, Reimer, King Pro I'd throw in there as well, probably Cali Rob. I think a driver of your quality could definitely get up there as well, that's for sure. I think you've got a fair chance. Scornsy probably one of the, and I say this as well, 5-time champion here in Midwest out of the 14 seasons that we've done. Race day claimed his 3rd championship last time out at Spa. Is now joint 2nd all-time. I tell you what, you could absolutely contend for podiums here. I think it's definitely worth a go. We got 2.5 minutes left. I'm going to go grab a sip of water really quick. As I find my way back to the chair, race day is starting at timed attempt with 2 minutes to go here. Currently sitting on a 1:07.590. Remember, this is the spot last time through Curva do Sol where he did have that bit of a misstep last time, getting on the throttle. The back end really stepped away from him. I think maybe now will he have the ability to find something now as he makes his way through the beginning of Sector 2. Tell you what, good-looking lap so far, and even better for him. Oh, and he's backed off. Yes, he has. He's made a mistake somewhere along the line. He's not been happy with this one. What I will say, he's got 90 seconds left, and I think he'll be able to get those tires, retain them at temperature, and then get the energy store back where he'd like to put down another lap. And it looks like, yes, he will be going for another one now. Back on the throttle. He's got relatively clear track ahead of him as well. Down the pit straight, heading in towards the Senna S's. The reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Midwest F1. And again, he's taking way too much curb on the inside there of Curva do Sol. That one is not going to be a good time again. That car took a lot of the apex curb on the inside and slid way out there. And I think now, potentially, he is going to be quicker through Sector 1, albeit only just 7/100th of a second. That could be enough, though, to be able to find something around King Pro Player, who is beginning one now and is, by the way, within a tenth of race day's time. Oh, King Pro always invalidated. Yes, he has. He's taken all of the curb on the inside there of Curva do Sol. That will be the end of his qualifying session, I'm afraid. Race day doesn't know that. He won't be concerned. He's just got to get himself back in and around. And to be able to have a clean conclusion of this lap here, will that be the case? As I believe that Sui has just jumped up to third. Scornsy is only just beginning one now. Race day has improved through Sector 2 by a tenth and a half. Exiting Jun Shao, heading up through and towards the pit straight for the final time here. Will Race Day be able to take pole, or could Scornsy or potentially even Reimer get themselves in here? Fastest lap there only improves by 2/10, 1:07.398 for Race Day. Sui, I'm not entirely sure, is on a timer here. At least for now, that's for sure. It does certainly appear that way. Scornsy making his way through Sector 2. Race Day was able to gather it back up after a tough start to that lap. King Pro Player had invalidated going through turn 3 Curva do Sol when all 4 tires over the white line on the inside. So that is his day done. For the time being, Sui appears to be out qualifying him, but he is not on a flyer, and it doesn't appear Scornsy is either. No, something has gone wrong with that last attempt there for the McLaren, and his day will be done as well. We've got the Hasev element, and he's on his way into the pit lane. It's only just to Houdini now, and it doesn't appear that he will be on a flyer as well. So this is your qualifying order then. Race day will start pole. King Pro player in second, Sui in third, Scornsy fourth. It's a brother second row there. I wonder if that's ever happened before. Reimer will start fifth. It'll be Cali Rob sixth, Lancey seventh. Lancey has been struggling with connectivity issues so far today. I wouldn't expect that this is going to be necessarily a fantastic run from him. I hope it is. I hope I'm not. I don't mean that to be rude. I'm just saying he has been in and out of the session more times than I can count. And, usually that problem does get quite frustrating after a while, has to be said. So race day will begin, the final race of the season on pole. King Pro player, as we said, will start second. It's a brother second row of Sui and Scornsy. Fifth will be Reimer. Very competitive top five there within 4/10 of a second, all of them. Then it drops back to Cali Rob, couple of tenths. Only 9 1,000ths between Cali Rob and Lancey. Very competitive midfield as well. We got a great race on tap for you here. Potentially weather as well. We're in Brazil after all. It's absolutely possible. We'll just have to wait and see. And let's see. And it does look quite gray up here. I tell you what. I haven't read anything saying rain, but it does appear for sure that it is quite gray outside. Good battles up ahead, that's for sure. We're going to have a good one here. I think that, and considering as well that we also, will normally have a safety car in this one, I think there's definitely, I tell you what, if people are in the wrong place at the wrong time, we're going to get some different names there at the top of the grid. Race day, by the way, I just want to throw this out there. Race day is he's going for his 9th win of the season, which will be, it won't be a record, but it will be second all time, joint with a couple other drivers on most wins in a season, or second most wins in a season. I want to say Scornsy currently has that record at 10 over the course of a regular 15-race season. Race day will be at 9 if he takes it here today, which will put him second all-time, joint with Scornsy, I think, twice. I think maybe Ryan Rods is in that conversation as well. I know he faced a very similar thing to this last season as well, where if he just won that final race, he would kind of be up there as well. And once again, if you're just joining us, welcome to the final round of this 14th Division I season here in the Midwest Esports League. And, well, for the time being, will be my final as well. Say for the time being, never say never. And it's never a goodbye, maybe just potentially a sabbatical for the time being. Hell, I've done this 5 years anyway. I think I've earned a season off. Race day 2016 will lead him around the grid now. Now, this is interesting. Now, normally what we'll see is when we... Oh, okay. All right, hang on just a minute. Let's dissect this. So we've got Race Day and Scornsy on the hards, yeah, as well as Travis Scott. The rest of the grid are separated between the medium tires and the soft tires. Now, if we were going to have rain on the way, I would see probably everybody on the soft tires, at least immediately. What this is telling me right now is that if there is any weather on the way, it's going to be towards the back end of the session. These guys that are here on these medium tires, these soft tires, are absolutely hoping that there's a safety car at least somewhere in the mix. 17 to 26, that's your pit window. Those soft tires only going to last about 10 laps there. What did that say, 10 to 13, something like that. So these guys, that are on the medium tires, on the soft tires, are absolutely hoping for that early safety car. That will put them at least on the hard tires. It'll bring not necessarily bring the rain closer in the sense that it speeds things up, but the race, as it gets slower, time passes more. You get where I'm going with that. So essentially what we're looking at now is that race day Scornsy. Oh, no, don't worry about that, Charlie. Don't worry about that at all. I have thoroughly enjoyed that. I know these past couple of rounds have kind of been slightly lower in attendance, but I tell you what, that's been very fun. What this is telling me at the moment is that, you know, these guys at medium tire, soft tire, they got to get this racing in now because they are not convinced that the weather is going to hold out. The rest of them are kind of hoping that it pushes towards the back end of the session. Of course, this is only on an approximate weather setting, I believe. This is going to be an interesting one here. Race day, of course, is going to be at the disadvantage here off the line. King Pro, Sweet, in his immediate surroundings here. They're going to be the immediate principal performers. But let's see, for the final time out of the 14 seasons in the Midwest F1 League, for one last time here in Division 1, they are underway, and it looks as if Race Day has gotten a good start, but he is massively spinning the tires now. He's not been able to hook it up, and he only just now does. King Pro's going to have a look to the inside. He's going to be a bit late, and it's 3 abreast back there. Sui has made his way around the outside of King Pro, looking behind. Kelly Robb has gotten himself both around Gotney Weave and Scornsy there. So Race Day makes his way up to first. Sui was able to take King Pro player going through turn 1 and 2 there, as now King Pro back to the inside of Sui will retake the spot back. Nearly goes off the racing surface, but is able to get it, as now Reimer is along the left side of Kelly Robb up the hill looking through towards Sector 2 now. It's getting very dicey here, and into this braking zone it could get even worse. Reimer around the outside, Lancey and Scornsy. Scornsy's had a terrible start to this race. He's down to 8th now. He's just purely been shuffled out of the way, and that's such a dangerous thing to have happen here, as now Kelly Robb and Reimer side by side through turn 10. Reimer still looking to hook it up on the inside of the corner there, and if he does, he'll make it quite well. Oh, look at this. They're still side by side. It's not been sorted yet, and Reimer finally does outbrake the Ferrari just barely then. For what it's worth, Race Day, despite slightly spinning the tires there on the start, has been able to keep the lead for now. King Pro player is on those medium tires, which will absolutely be coming into play here very shortly, especially with DRS going to be activated at the bottom of the hill. Sui could look to have King Pro, as King Pro actually had a bit of an error there in turn 1, kind of slid quite wide there, as well as DRS activated now. King Pro is going to be able to have enough to find something on Race Day. No. Sui was almost there on King Pro as well, but didn't know how he was going to be able to react, considering he didn't know if King Pro was going to make something happen either. Reimer appears to have gotten around Kelly Robb, and so that's where we're at currently. As far as positions gained and lost, the top 3 have stayed the same, although we've seen plenty of moving here. Sui had initially taken that second spot off the line, then lost it as King Pro made a good move in towards, not Curva del Sol, what's the other one after that? Dolago. Scornsy is down 4 positions. I don't really know what's happened with that McLaren. He was 3 abreast there with, I want to say it was, as Race Day's being overtaken by King Pro now, exiting Jun Chao. Something's gone wrong with that Mercedes. Either that or he's playing a bit of DRS gamesmanship here. And I think that's might actually be what he's doing. He doesn't want to lose this spot. You know, considering that he's on the worst tires, he's actually going to play a little bit of game here, as now Sui and King Pro are going to be side by side going into the Senna S's. Very similar battle to the opening lap, and it looks as if King Pro is going to be able to get ahead of Sui, but that was pretty clever there from Race Day to be able to make that happen. Whether that was on purpose or it was a mistake that turned into a good result, I'm not entirely sure, but either way, he will retain the lead of this Grand Prix. Scornsy, as we were saying, was about 3 wide heading into that first corner, with a couple other drivers involved. Oh, don't tell me, was that just a raindrop just then that I just saw? It kind of looked like it. Oh, come on now. Don't you do that. Don't give me hope. I will say this. It is getting slightly brighter out of the circuit, at least on my end. I don't know if that's how it looks on your end of the screen as well. It does certainly appear. The clouds are out, but it does not appear rainy kind of position quite yet. We'll have to wait and see how this one turns out. As making their way now through Sector 3, the procession will make their way around. The only driver not within DRS range on the car ahead is that of Travis Scott back to Gunner. Everybody else has a position and a probability to make an overtake here into this first corner. It does look now as Sweet, who I thought temporarily there was going to have a move on King Pro player, will not be able to make it happen. Race Day was able to hold ahead of the two battling behind him. But now, will that be the case? He's going to have to force King Pro to the inside there. King Pro did not commit to that move. And, oh, Race Day, well, never mind. I thought genuinely that car was sliding quite a bit wide, and certainly looked it on my screen. But DRS from 1st to 14th, yeah, it is going spectacularly here. The question is going to be, is that how long will it remain like this? Obviously, we've got a great mix of the tire strategy so far. Does that kind of throw strategy more into the question than outright pace? That would have to be said. Race Day is holding on very, very well for the time being. Currently at the top spot, he is on those hard tires as well. I think as well that he knows King Pro player is going to actively have to battle Sui. That does help him. And Race Day's kind of in no hurry. Even if King Pro does get him here, which it looks initially like he will. No, look at this. Sui's going to go down to the inside. Sui's going to have the opportunity to get both of them, and he will. Sui will lead this Grand Prix beginning on the 5th lap. He's on those medium tires as well. He could begin to pull away from Race Day. As, oh, we've got a yellow flag somewhere along the line. The Ferrari of Cali Robb has had a bit of a go-around there, exiting the Senna S's, and that's unfortunate for Cali Robb, as time and time again, I think, is a multiple race winner this season. And unfortunately has taken a bit of a backslide there as I just checked my notes at the moment. Yeah, he's won. Well, at least once this season, but hey, that's worth something. So unfortunate moment there for Cali Robb. Reimer has gotten round King Pro player. I don't quite think King Pro expected there. Sui was able to get both Race Day and King Pro heading into that first corner. So Sui now leads this Grand Prix. And by the way, again, I'll say it one more time, is currently not necessarily pulling away convincingly from Race Day, but he's having it happen. He's on those medium tires. It's a possibility. The line this time will be 30 laps to go of the 36 scheduled laps here at this Brazilian Grand Prix. Sui will lead the lap and won't be challenged by Race Day behind. Actually, neither will Reimer challenge Race Day, and neither will King Pro challenge Reimer, it seems. Gottney Weave is kind of poking his head into this battle as well, but I'm wondering how long that's going to stay, considering he is on those soft tires. Only got about probably 5 laps left on them, would be my guess. Reimer right now along the back end, very much so, of Race Day heading in towards Dolago, and it looks like he's going to get right there, but not quite close enough to make that happen. As a peek to the outside, switches back to the inside now, going up the hill. Now, Race Day kind of parked it in the middle of the circuit there, wasn't necessarily able to allow Reimer through. Of course, good defending there by the Mercedes and the champion. I think the question now has to be, I'm not going to say it's not going to rain, because you never know, but it has gotten considerably more bright out here in the recent laps. I think maybe, is it just the possibility? I'm wondering how it's going to pan out for Race Day and Scornsy in particular, because they're on these hard tires. For the time being, is falling behind of Sui, but I think even Sui knows that Race Day's got him on pure pace. Question is how gutsy does it get on the tire strategy? Gottney Weave is defending very well against Lancey. Lancey having to go everywhere to try to get around that. Who is inviting me to play Fortnite at this hour? Get out of here. Lancey trying to get around Gottney Weave, but not able to. Scornsy's in this mix as well. Remember, Scornsy had dropped quite a few positions there, as Race Day is going to go to the inside of Sui into Delago, and he's made that happen. Bit of a dive there potentially from Race Day, but he's made it happen as Sui now follows Sue up the hill heading in towards the rest of Sector 2. And I tell you what, Race Day has taken this lead back with some talent as well. What I was about to say was this. Scornsy is slowly but surely making his way back up the grid here. He had that terrible start to which he dropped 4 positions. He's made at least one of them back as Reimer now will go to the inside of Sui, actually. Sui's going to lose 2 positions here in just the go through Sector 2. Something has either not gone well with Sui, or he's just being had at the moment, and I think it might be that second option. I haven't seen him make any mistakes. I think genuinely Reimer and Race Day have just clean gotten around him. Sui will have a slight peek to the outside there. Oh, and there's contact between the former teammates last season. Oh, goodness me, that's not gone well. As Race Day now drops all the way down to 5th, Reimer will take the lead. What happened there? They were making their way down the pit straight. Let's see if I've got my second screen open. I'll kind of dissect this one for you here. Sui was following them down the pit straight. Race Day is going to get overtaken by Lancey. Reimer was looking to have a look on the inside. Race Day, oh, he did move into that path of Reimer there. Wing damage for the Red Bull, I believe. There was definitely some body work sheared, and it is Reimer's Red Bull that does have the end plate missing on the right side. That's a tricky one there, because definitely, I think, Race Day's got to have a little bit better awareness there, knowing that Reimer's going to be having that look to the inside. I think, though, for what it's worth, Race Day is the one that's immediately suffered. Reimer will probably have to stop for a front wing at the next stop. I don't know. Former teammates, these guys won the Constructors' Championship. I'm not sure, was it last season? I think it was last season. As now, heading down the pit straight, Reimer will take that outside line, and Sui will make his way down low. And I tell you what, again, kind of talked about this in the beginning of the race here. If you're involved in something, wrong place, wrong time, you could absolutely see somebody else at the top of the grid here, and that's exactly what's happening. Sui has, kind of kept to himself. He's done everything so far correctly. As we have another yellow flag at the back of the grid. Something has happened there between Shariah, I believe, and somebody else has been involved in that, as Reimer is now under pressure from King Pro. King Pro nearly, I think, did potentially get into the side of the Red Bull, as now, oh, look at this, the Williams have gotten a weeb up the inside. He'll actually make a little bit of contact there with the back end of the Williams, as now we get the Haas of Element off at turn 4. It appears he's gotten it back going. King Pro's going to try to pull around the outside of Gotten Weeb here through 8. Weeb will drift high to defend. King Pro will now have to take the outside line going through turn 10. Oh, good battle here. He's gotten a lot of curb there, King Pro player. Now this is where it gets tricky. These cars naturally want to drift to the outside of the circuit, and King Pro player is going to take that third spot back. Very nicely done there for the V-Carb in question. Remember, we are not too far away from the pit windows. We're not close necessarily, but we're not too far away either. Race Day to the inside of Lancey there, going through turns 1, 2, and 3, and it looks as if it's going to be held open for now. We'll have to wait and see if Race Day gets that spot back. Of course, this is again the battle for the lead. Reimer is right there. Yeah, he's not quite close enough. Race Day. Oh, Race Day's kind of been forced off the circuit there. Yes, he has. I don't know if he's made that genuine and on an error, or if there was contact between himself and the V-Carb there. Of Lancey, but Race Day is down to 6th now. I'll tell you what, it's a bit of a struggle there going for the Mercedes. So making their way now down the pit straight once again here. And I think what we're going to start to see, and this is interesting as well, because Reimer is usually a driver that will take kind of the off strategy. That's not the case here. He's chosen, well, I don't want to say that it's not even really the meta, to tell you the truth. It's just kind of the safe strategy to be on. As we do have an overtake there towards the back. I think, oh, look at this. Kelly Rob's going to go around the outside of Gunner. And he's made that one happen. Kelly Rob back up to 9th. As we get a yellow flag, Elements had a bit of a spin as well, going through Curva do Sol. Making their way through the rest of Sector 2. It appears now, for what it's worth, that Sui is in position. He's I don't want to say getting comfortable here at the top of the grid. He's not necessarily pulling away from Reimer. He's going to absolutely have to defend. But Reimer, in fairness to him, having that front wing damage, doing well to at least stay ahead of King Pro player for the time being. We still think that Reimer is going to have to pit for a new front wing at this next stop. Whether or not that's going to be the case is the million-dollar question. We'll have another look at the tire strategy here just to remind you. As it appears, Race Day to the inside of Lancey. Lancey's going to try to cut back to the inside. And now Scornsey going the long way around to the Dutchman here. Oh, Lancey's taking so much curb there on the inside of turn 1. And he's absolutely lost the spot because of it. Gunner appears to have gotten around Fire Up Flow there through turn 1. Potentially, will there be another challenge from the Williams heading in towards turn 4? Very close indeed. Having to go around the outside. Let's see. Oh, and Gunner's going to, I think, just be slightly later on the brakes. about a third of the way through the Grand Prix here. And again, what we're seeing is this. Race Day got caught up with a slight incident between himself and Reimer, and so far we've seen a couple other mistakes from the Mercedes, although what I will say is this, he's right back in position. As I apologize, Race Chase is going around the outside of Lancey here through 11. That's a bold move to make there. Beautiful stuff from Race Chase. I think they switched accounts. They probably could have, tell you the truth. Swee's having a great one here. Race Day around the outside. And, you know, and I was saying this as well. Swee has just also stayed out of trouble. You know, there was that battle going on there with Race Day and Reimer. And I'm not going to say he kind of just let them through, but he wasn't going to bother trying to take both of them. It was King Pro and Race Day at the time, but Swee just kind of knew his role, and he knew not to try to inject himself more than he had to. And what's happened is he's capitalized on the opportunity that's been given to him. He's taken this lead here. He's on those medium tires with the second place car having front wing damage. And I tell you what, this is a very good spot for him here. I still think, realistically, Scornsy and Race Day are probably on the better of the strategy here, considering in that second stint they will be on the medium tires. So I think that's something they're going to have to keep in mind. Down the pit straight once more, and again, Reimer is not just not going to be quite close enough here to make something happen. King Pro to the back end of Reimer. Down the pit straight they go. I'm just waiting to see. Nah, I don't think King Pro's going to be close enough. Neither will Race Day. Race Day's kind of getting himself back into the mix here ever so slightly after that incident there. Light fuel tire wear lower, definitely going to be tight at the end. Yeah, it absolutely will. I think genuinely, here's the problem I see though, as Race Day's going to try it around the outside of King Pro here through Dolago. Not quite going to be able to take that there. King Pro gave him plenty of room. I think the problem is that if there's no safety car, I think Race Day and Scornsy are by far going to be on the better strategy. If there is a safety car, it's anyone's bet, and I think at that point, as long as Swee makes the right decisions of what tire to go on, he could still win this Grand Prix. A driver I don't believe has ever won a Division 1 Grand Prix. Don't quote me on that unless you're able to do some statistical work. Hey, Spaceman, where you at? I think genuinely, yeah, I think pretty much anyone right now in the top 5 has a fair shot at winning this race. I think Reimer, we're going to see him drop back again. I don't know if he's going to want to replace that front wing or not. It doesn't appear to be hampering him too much to the point where he's having difficulty driving. Although what I will say, again, he's not exactly closing in to Sweet, but he hasn't been challenged yet by King Pro players behind Scornsy and King Pro. Very close indeed here, as well as Race Day, as Callie, Rob, and Lancey have both stopped here. Two of the I was going to say soft tire runners. Callie Rob's actually pit here for the medium, so yeah, we're going to have some genuine statistical or strategical stops on the way. Scornsy has been able to get underneath King Pro player there in towards turn 4. Very nicely done for the McLaren, and he's back into the mix now. Got any weeb on these soft tires, I'm afraid. It was a good idea at first, but he's not necessarily in position anymore to compete with the top 5. Again, I'll say it once more. If a safety car comes out, it's anyone's bet who's going to win this race. For the time being, I still think, strategic-wise, tire-wise, it will be either Scornsy or Race Day. I think the mediums have done well now. We are going to start to see these stops here momentarily. I don't think it's going to be this time by from Sweet unless he makes that choice. And nope, not this time. Yeah, well, I tell you what. Hey, listen, I have tried to debunk the commentator's curse so many times. I've actually proved it more times than have debunked it. Well, this is interesting here from Reimer. He's making the stop to the hard tires. He has chosen not to replace the front wing. Of course, the end plate on the right front side. It's not helpful as far as downforce and as cornering ability. That much we do know, obviously. It doesn't help braking performance either. There's less air being forced over the top of the tires and less braking power involved. I think at this point right now, for how much he has, it's not that crippling, but it's kind of, yeah, it's one of those things you just kind of have to think about. He might not have switched his MFD to yes, though. I think, though, for what it's worth, he isn't doing too bad without it. You know what I mean? He was not closing into Sui, but he was not falling into the clutches of King Pro or any of the drivers immediately behind him. He was still at a competitive pace without the end plate. So I think realistically, if there's another safety car, he might go for it. Or sorry, if there is a safety car, I think he could have a go for it. For the time being, though, I'm not sure, as it looks like there will be an overtake between the brothers here, as Scornsy will make his way up to the top spot. Of course, being on the hard tires, they've worked their way in towards being the preferred option at the moment. Only a couple of cars have made stops here, not very many. Or I say that, Houdini's making his way in now. When I say that, 8 cars have made stops now, but nobody within the top 6. Reimer has come in, as we've said. He could have increased the front wing to have similar grip. Does it work like that? Where you can increase the front wing despite missing an end plate and it'll act similarly? Is that a genuine thing? I'm not... Okay, hey, fair enough. Hey, honestly, that's pretty clever. I didn't even think about that being a possibility, but hey, if it works. Race Day has gotten himself, once again, kind of back into position here. We're just waiting to see when Sui decides to pit. It's not going to be now. Problem again, we talk about this time and time again. We've got so many different tire strategies on the probability here, as Race Day is just out of the blue on the MFA. You see, that much I did know. I didn't think that it would actually act similarly. If it's just an end plate, that can be an option. Okay, well, hey, fair enough. Because that's pretty clever to me. I know you can adjust the front wing, the downforce level from the pit box. I didn't realize that it could probably be the same amount as, having the end plate. That's pretty interesting there. Sui made a great move. Sorry, not Sui. Race Day made a great move in turn 1 there, kind of out of the blue, has to be said. I thought Sui was going to be able to keep ahead of him. Problem here with Sui is this. Sui and Race Chase, for what it's worth, are now entering the territory of being on the pure back end of the strategy here with those on the medium tires. Everybody else, realistically, of his immediate medium tire running counterparts, minus that of Element, have stopped here. Reimer has stopped, King Pro has stopped, Lancey has stopped, Gottney Weeb has stopped, Fire, Nicky, Shirai have all stopped here. So the question now remains, is Sui now kind of being a detriment to his own race by staying out even longer? That's kind of the question you have to start asking here. Because again, those who started the race on the hard tires, three of them, as we'll look now, it does appear Reimer having to defend from both Lancey and King Pro for the time being. Lancey's just gone fastest, actually, on his set of medium tires. But as I was saying, you think about with Sui for the time being, it's actually being more of a detriment to his race now, having stayed out as long as he is, as Lancey's going to pull around the outside of Reimer there up to the 6th spot. Gottney Weeb appears to have taken King Pro low then. Top 2, of course, once again, kind of in a battle with themselves on those hard tires. Sui is dropping back, not necessarily rapidly, but he's already a 2.5 seconds down, so this is not quite going well enough for Sui here. I think he's got to pit this time by. Doesn't have too many other options. Race Chase, I think, as well. See what Sui decides to do. And Sui is going to stay out again. Now, this is interesting. And Scornsy's got a 10er for speeding into the pit lane. Oh, goodness me. Hard tires to the mediums. Oh, wow. That's unfortunate there. That's the only way to say it. That is such a massive, massive moment there for Scornsy. That is almost firmly taking him out of the running to win this Grand Prix. Except maybe if there's a safety car, he can come in, have another stop, get that 10er taken away. Question is now is that when does Race Day decide to make the stop here? Of course, he's on the hard tires. The window for the mediums was about 15 laps, as we've discovered. So I would assume. And this is interesting here for Sui as well, because he is now trying to match the strategy window of Race Day ahead of him on those hard tires. I think that is a fair chance. The problem with this, though, is that Race Day is going to exit the pit lane on the mediums. Swee's going to exit the pit lane on the hards. So that's kind of a tough ask there, has to be said. And as we can see now, Race Day is starting to pull ahead even more of Swee. I think Swee had a slight bit of a think of pitting that last time, didn't quite. Hey, maybe we could even see Swee try for some softs here. Is it out of the question? Not entirely, because we did see a good group of guys on the grid here today pit for soft tires, as we do have nearly 4-car battle going in through Curva del Sol here. Reimer's going to be able to somehow stay ahead of Lancey. I think maybe did, or sorry, of Gottney Weeb. I think Lancey did have a move on him recently. Has now Gottney Weeb to the inside of Reimer, and that car, again, it doesn't quite look healthy considering the wing damage he does have. He is still in a competitive pace, and I think this is now in a good battle here with Scornsy going up through Sector 2. I think the question is for Reimer, is he going to be able to tough it out here through the remainder of the Grand Prix with this wing damage that he does have? Will a safety car come out and provide him an opportunity to get it replaced despite not having as much track position as he would appreciate? Because right now, for what it's worth, we've still got 3-4 guys at the top end of the grid who haven't stopped yet. 2 of them making their way in now, Swee and Race Chase, critically enough. Let's see what Swee decides to do here. It will be the softs for Swee. That, my friends, is a bit of a bold decision. And it will be softs for Race Chase as well. So we have had quite the mixed bag of strategy here today. Scorsy now down to the inside of Reimer, going through Curva del Sol. Almost a bit of contact there as the McLaren got a little bit unsettled coming off the curve on the inside. But Scorsy will make his way up to 4th. Still some very tight battles going on for the time being. I will say this. Lancey appears to be in a pretty good position right now. Because genuinely, at the moment, when Race Day decides to stop, of course, he'll be on the medium tires, he'll be right quick, but he will have a genuine 5-6 guys in between him and the lead once more. This is a tough ask here from Race Day. See, and it's going to be, interestingly enough, it's going to be the medium tires for Race Day here. He does not either have another set of softs or he doesn't have faith on them. So as Reimer and King Pro battle for the 6th position, Race Day only exits the pit lane now. And below as well, we've got Scornsy to the inside of Gottney Weeb. Reimer's got a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings there. Scornsy nearly all 4 tires over the white line going through turn 3. Bottom of the hill, Curva del Sol. We've got a straight-up heads-up battle here for the win of the Grand Prix, and even more. Race Day has 5 other cars between himself and the lead of the Grand Prix. I mean, this is definitely something here. We are in for a hell of a finish. As King Pro is going to try the outside there. Sorry, Gottney Weeb's going to try the outside and now down to the inside of turn 9 over King Pro player. And Gottney Weeb up to 3rd. So that will put Lancey at the point. Scornsy, of course, having 10 seconds of penalty, he's got to find a way around, or, you know, vice versa. You know, Gottney Weeb in position, I don't want to say is the dark horse in this battle, is currently on fresher tires, at least of that over Lancey. King Pro player on the hards, those will be better at the end of the Grand Prix. Scornsy now down to the inside of Lancey into turn 1. He's made a fair go of it there. Swee is now taking the fastest lap. Lancey will still follow Scornsy in behind. Gottney Weeb is trying his best, keeping within DRS range. He is, at least for the time being, starting to pull ahead of King Pro player. We're coming up in the final 10 laps of the Grand Prix here. Tenth and a half here, heading up through Sector 2. King Pro player starting to close into the back end of Gottney Weeb. I think King Pro has got to start making some moves relatively quickly here, but otherwise, if he does, he'll actually be in a very fair position. I think King Pro player could find a way to walk away with this one. You got to think those medium tires for Lancey and Gotti Weaver are not going to be very good at the end of the race here, considering they're going to have to go another 10 laps, if able. I think that's going to be a very difficult task there for the V-Carb and the Williams as well. King Pro is going to have a look to the inside of Gottney Weave here in towards turn 1. We have a yellow flag. Element has gone around exiting 11. Yeah, of course. So the good thing about this circuit is that when you do have a go around like that, there's really not many things to hit. Heading in towards turn 4. Scornsey's going to have a little bit of a... I think at least for Scornsey, for the time being, it's a mention now of damage limitation. He's got that 10-second penalty. It's very rarely that tenders get overturned. So we'll have to wait and see. Let's see, we're on the start straight. Yeah, genuinely as well. Oh, good battle going on here between Reimer and Race Day. These two are no strangers. So at the line this time, of course in racing terminology, this will be 11 laps to go, because you still have to count 26 as well. So 11 laps to go here. In towards turn 1 and 2. Again, I think the question for Scornsey now, he's got to hope for a safety car to, keep himself in contention for at least a top 5. This 10-second penalty obviously is not going to come to his aid. The pair of the B-Carbs have migrated towards the top 2 spots and are, getting their way towards a 1 and 2 here. But, oh, look at this. Reimer and Gottney Weeb have gone for a send there on King Pro player. King Pro, I could genuinely think, could be a player at the end of this Grand Prix here. However, now, it's just been absolutely blown out of the water by both Reimer and Gottney Weeb. I still think, as now Race Day having to go to the inside. Oh, and he's... Oh, that penalty's going to be removed there, surely. King Pro has not afforded him any space there on the inside. Race Day was clearly alongside, and Race Day now has a 3-second penalty. I think that one is absolutely going to be taken off then, unless if he doesn't pick up another warning. I think Race Day will have that 3-second penalty erased, that's for sure. Scornsey leads by 9/10 over Lancey, now 10 laps to go. Gottney Weeb behind, 2.5 seconds. He's not exactly closing into Lancey as well. I'll tell you what, the Dutchman could very well be on his way to winning a Division 1 Grand Prix here. King Pro having a dive to the inside, not quite going to have it if Race Day can get on the throttle well here, and he does. So Race Day will be able to keep 5th. And Angry Race Day is not a patient Race Day. Couldn't have said it better, genuinely. I think Race Day, very talented driver. Get him angry, he is even more quick. And he's even more daring. Although Race Day never had any success being patient, that's for sure. Always going for it, 100% whenever applicable. That's why he's a 3-time champion, back-to-back as well. Joint second all-time in Midwest Division 1 championships with 3, alongside GSR Ryan Rods. Of course, Scornsey is the only driver with more at 5. Scornsey, by the way, for what it's worth, I haven't talked about this as much here. Scornsey has only just recently began playing F1 24 again. Hadn't really touched this game, he was telling me, until about January. As Race Day is going to try to get around Reimer here, and he does. Oh, and around the outside, and Reimer's gone clean into the back of Race Day there. Thankfully for Reimer, that's not any more wing damage. That could have been rough. But as I was saying, Scornsey, having been the 5-time champion that he is, hadn't picked up this game really until January, started playing it again. Saw him a couple times in Monkey Mafia, has done really well there. Is starting to grow into a contender in CCRL Wednesday. I haven't touched it probably 2 or 3 weeks at this point. I tell you what, man, this game, for what it's worth, I think if this game in particular came out in 2020, none of us would have complained. It's not bad. I mean, genuinely, I just think having the point where everybody's lives have gotten back together, the virtual racing has not gotten to where it has not gotten back to the height of pandemic Midwest F1. That's an unfortunate. Again, you remember we had 7 divisions at one time. Just an unfortunate way how it goes. Nobody's fault. Just kind of how it is. What I will say as well. on that same side of the coin, if there's an opportunity for me to get what do you call it? If there's an opportunity for me to get iRacing, I would. Handling model needs to be improved. I tell you what, it's interesting. I re-downloaded F1 2020 just because I wanted to play it again, just because I loved it so much better. The cars felt so much like glued to the ground, really. These cars as well, for what they're worth, handle pretty well. I think it's definitely going to be interesting when we get to a situation, because I think what people, really started complaining 22 about the handling model, which to their credit was absolutely correct. Classic cars, multiple layouts, customizable helmets, color visors, these things should not be... No, exactly. For sure. I think the older Codemasters F1 games were just that much better. I think, though, in the defense of EA Sports, this is not a stance I will always take, and God forbid, not many other times than this. In their defense, they checked on to F1 22, and people complained about the handling model, and they were right. The handling model was terrible. However, what I will say, they had a new generation of car. They had very little knowledge to actually go off of, minus what Codemasters had provided them. It was really just a guess as to how these cars move about the circuit with this generation of car. I think they're going to run into that same problem again in 26 when the next model comes out. I think genuinely then we're also going to have kind of a rough one. It is going to be, probably just pure guesswork, honestly. And I think that's unfortunate because, as it's turned out, 23 was not that bad of a game. This one, in fairness, I don't enjoy it, but it's not bad in the grand scheme of things. Honestly, I'm just not very good. I think it will never tie. As we got Sui and King Pro, oh, goodness me. Well, that one has escalated quickly, that's for sure. Bit of contact there, exiting turn 8 in towards turn 10 even more, and now at least one or two drivers missing some front wing here. I think for what it's worth, nothing will ever be, 2019, 2020, 2021 even. I think 2021 was a masterpiece of a F1 game there. I think if they wanted to, EA, they could get back to that, but they're not going to. We've got 5 laps to go here in the final round of the Division 1 season. Lancey, for what it's worth, for the time being, looks like he is absolutely on his way to winning a Grand Prix. That is unless Race Day can get himself into the picture here, as we do have Reimer getting himself around Gottney Weeb. And it looks like Sui has gotten around King Pro Player as well. Race Day, again, unless he's picked up another warning. He's still catching a bit. He is trying, yes. I will say, again, he's on those medium tires. He is on fresher medium tires than those of the top two, specifically Lancey. He's got to get around Lancey here. Scornsy, we highly doubt, can get his pit lane speed limit penalty removed there. Does not happen very often, if ever. There is an odd instance where the car and the telemetry shows you're under that amount of speed, and the game penalizes you anyway. I don't believe that's what's happened with Scornsy. Race Day will absolutely get that 3-second penalty removed there. Took 6/10 in 2 sectors. He absolutely is. He's flying right now. He's a man on a mission. Of course, again, we're within the final 5 laps of this Grand Prix. King Pro Player into the pit lane now. Race Day, again, had that incident with King Pro Player. It was kind of forced over the white line. Picked up a 3-second penalty because of it. So Race Day is in an interesting position. He cannot pick up an additional warning. If he... Let me put it to you this way. If Race Day does not apply to the stewards to get that 3-second penalty taken away, then we know he's picked up an additional warning, and this win is genuinely Lancey's. However, do I have time here to check the race director, for God's sakes? I mean, that's... I apologize for doing this. Race Day, exceeded track limits, that's 1. Yeah, well, he's definitely got it there. That's at least... He hasn't picked one up since, but he's absolutely... I don't know if that 4th message there counts as another warning, or that's just what happens after. Because I think at least that one warning he can get taken away, and that 3-second penalty would be null and void. If he gets clear air in front of Scorsese, Lancey would drop within 2 laps. Absolutely he will. Unless it was 2 and 1, I think it was just the one, because genuinely, he was side by side with King Pro. This was going through turn, I believe this was to the inside of turn 10, or it may have been this one here. They were side by side. Race-Day, I'm not going to say dove his way in, because he really didn't, but he was clearly alongside King Pro player, and King Pro unfortunately did not leave him any room, which in fairness to King Pro had battled with Race-Day before, did leave him plenty of room. That was no sort of animosity there. It just is what happened. So I think genuinely Race-Day has a fair opportunity to get that penalty removed. Brazil track limits are crazy in Sector 2. It's so windy. I think as Race-Day is going to make his way to the inside of Lancey here. Reminder, this could be for the win. If Race-Day gets that penalty removed, it's very much on the table here. Yeah, I think it's difficult as well because how this track, I'm not going to say is how constructed, but you are encouraged on this track to take so much curb going through corners. It's not like a couple other circuits we visit where you only just take a little bit. You are expected to use every single inch of the curb here through the circuit. And I think that's kind of where it gets a little bit tricky. Because, where does that line cross between having gone completely over the white line to just on it? We've seen that now in Austria, having put that gravel trap on the outside of the final corner. A bit of a slide there for Race-Day. It's a difficult kind of question to take into consideration. So at the line this time will be 2 laps to go. Race-Day, again, is on 3 warnings. He's got a 3-second time penalty, but again, I think he could get that penalty taken off. It was not due to his own fault. Should that be the case, that'll move him up to the top spot, and he will win this Grand Prix, should he stay ahead of Lancey at least. And he will win this Grand Prix and take 9 wins on the season, tied for second most all-time. Gottlieb Weeb having a bit of a look to the inside of Reimer here. I think Gottlieb Weeb could very much have a go at finish on the podium until now. That's a bit rough there. I think Reimer does as well have that 3-second penalty he's going to be dropping. At least, well, I don't think he's going to fall behind Sweet. So, making their way through Sector 3 for the penultimate time, Lancey is only 0.8 of a second behind Race-Day. I know, I tell you what, and this is kind of the thing we've seen with Race-Day all season long, is Lancey is going to have a slight look here. I think genuinely, Race-Day, ever since F122 has turned into an absolute wizard with this game. Every single circuit he races on, he is expected to compete and win, at the very least a podium. This guy does not have bad tracks to race on. He knows the ins and out of every single circuit, every corner, every curb, and that is why he is winning so frequently as it is. He has mastered these recent games. He's done so well. He's become a staple here in Division 1. Oh, I tell you what, as I glaze him here, potentially a little bit, Lancey's going to go around the outside on a genuine mistake there from Race-Day. Oh, this is rancid. Race-Day's going to absolutely send it back. Oh, that's got to be the warning there. No, it's over and out. Lancey. Well, Valentine, I tell you what, this will be probably my last Midwest F1 call for at least a season. You talked about the commentator's curse earlier on in the day. If there's any living and breathing embodiment of that, there you go. Lancey coming around the line now. The Dutchman will win here in Division 1, will win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Race-Day will finish second. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Race-Day there. We'll end the season with 8 wins, which I think he also equaled last season as well. Gottlieb, podium finish for the Williams. What a fantastic showing there from the Williams. Scornsey drops to 4th with his 10-second penalty, albeit only 4th. So that's a good result there for Scornsey, in fairness. Reimer gets 5th. Swee got caught up in some things with King Pro player. will finish 6th. Callie Robb 7th. Nikki 8th. 9th will be Race Chase. And Fire Up Flow will round out the top 10. Just waiting for the final couple of cars to cross the line now. Houdini will come around, and then finally Element. And guys, it has to be said, having been here since September of 2020, having casted since the beginning of Division 2 in Season 2 of the league, it has been an absolute pleasure joining you here week in and week out when I can, that's for sure, at least when I can. Lancey taking the win. For what I believe is his first ever win here in Division 1. Potentially more to come as well. He's been such in contention. And I tell you what, we said it again. Be in the right place at the right time, you can win this race, and that's what Lancey's done today. Well, here's a final look at the results here. Lancey's having the win. Race day 2nd, Gottney Weeb 3rd. Great result there for the Williams. Scornsey 4th, Reimer 5th. Pair of the Ferrari 6th and 7th. The Aston of Nikki in 8th. Race Chase 9th. Fire Up Flow rounds at the top 10. Well, guys, again, as I was saying, having been here since the inaugural season of Division 2, Season 2 of the league, it's been 5 years. I think I've earned a little bit of a sabbatical, haven't I? It's been an absolute pleasure joining you once again here. It's not a goodbye. It's just a so long for now. We'll see you again soon.